We are fighting corruption. We are fighting corruption. They have stolen money. They have stolen money. And you will not hear them complain. You will not hear them say anyone will go to jail. No, it's not just Okara that they know, because I warned Dodges Okara and he wouldn't listen. The same way that I'm warning them. Look at Oshomole today. They've kicked him to the curb. They say Buhari has come on, of course, Jubril has come under heavy criticism for failure to act in the alleged indictment of the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, Fulani, criminals they are, Omar Diko, thieves, Ibrahim Taher of Nitel in those days, Minister of Communication. Have they forgotten? These are arch criminals, looters, grade 1 looters. They can never go to jail. They are Fulani. When I go outside and they say, oh, it's war against terrorism. War against terrorism. Unbelievable. 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 And this is what Facebook is covering. That is why they are fighting me. That is why they go and help the zoo set up fake accounts to come and be attacking me. And I love it anyway. It makes us a lot more stronger. A lot more stronger. Magashi is a rogue. He's Fulani and he's a thief and he's in the government of terrorists, for terrorists and by terrorists. That is the way. That is the way they are. That is the way they deceive some of you. But fortunately, they can never ever deceive us. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. They can deceive you if you like. They go and they reject Christians in the north. It is very clear for all to see. It is very clear for all to see. The CJN gunmen attack Jonathan's residence, while the person that claimed it is Jonathan's cousin, blast Kano over Ihejrika. Dear. Oh, dear me. They called me a liar. Said, you're a liar. And they went to go and kill Jonathan. And he shut up. Natural born, wretched cowards. People who are slaves and will remain slaves forever. What happened to Adaka Boro and Kensarawa never taught them any lesson. They don't believe in reading history and learning from it. They will always serve the master. Jonathan was playing the good boy, the good president. Look at him today. Did it stop them from coming to look for him to kill him? Jonathan fought for an APC candidate in Bayelsa. APC candidate in Bayelsa. He was the PDP president. He fought for APC candidate. Did that stop them from coming to look for him to kill him? And you're talking, I don't know, the name didn't even sound Biafra, so I didn't want to respond. He had, the fool had a slave name that I cannot dignify with a response. They came to Jonathan's house and he's asking them to investigate. He's asking Al-Majdi to investigate themselves. Unbelievable. They are the ones now telling us that Boko Haram will use chemical weapons because they know what they're doing. They are the ones funding the manufacture of the chemical weapons. The same people you have in Asarok are the ones obviously advising them on what to do. When you see the Nigerian government, you see the face of Jubril, heavily made up, of course. Look at his hands now. Maybe tomorrow they're going to put letters on his hands to give him some wrinkles. Look at his hands and look at his face. They're not the same people. Or the same person, so to speak. Go and look at it now. They say, oh, the Nigerian government, the cabal. They came out, when I was telling you about the cabal, did you believe me? They came out and said, oh, the cabal exists. They are also human beings. So those that claim that Buhari is a nonsense general, if Buhari were to be alive, do you think he would tolerate people talking about his government in those terms? There's a cabal running the government. Asha will come, they'll lock her out. And she'll be lamenting on a widely circulated video, and you say Buhari is alive? Hey. This UG black, very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. Compare the crimes of Boko Haram, of ISIS in West Africa, of Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, and the Fulani headsman Miyetti Allah. Has IPOB done anything wrong compared to these people? But they are the ones in the army, They kill you, they recruit them, they put them in the army. They kill you. Herofai will go to the central bank and give them money. They kill you, they protect them. And you're still shouting one Nigeria. You're still shouting one Nigeria. And you're telling me that somehow you are normal. You're telling me that somehow all is well with your brain. I doubt that very much. I doubt that very much. When Buhari was alive and calling for full Sharia implementation, why won't the CJN be emboldened? Buhari, I declare, is the modern father of terrorism in Nigeria. Buhari is the chief terrorist, and that is going to be our campaign to the whole world. Facts and figures to substantiate and back up everything we are saying. Insurgency and Buhari's call for full Sharia. Also, the news is everywhere. Everywhere. Unbelievable. Buhari was given an opportunity in 2001 to choose between Nigeria, a secular Nigeria, and fundamentalist Islam. And he said, I choose Islam. It's in Vanguard newspaper of 24th of December 2014. Go and Google it. Insurgency and Buhari's call for full Sharia. Insurgency, which is Boko terrorism, and Buhari's call for full Sharia, they are one and the same. Is carried by Vanguard newspaper. Insurgency and Buhari's call for full Sharia. Some of you, I don't want to speak against what Chukwuka Kabiama has created, honestly speaking. Some of you make me want to speak against what God has made, and I can't. I can't. It's there for all to see. But you don't read. You read only this person said this about that person said this about the other person, all rubbish, total and gossip. That is the news. Insurgency and Buhari's call for full Sharia. The two are the same. Vanguard newspaper is there. Go and Google it. You see it. Very, very shameful. Very, very shameful indeed. They went on to claim that they released Showore and Dasuki on compassionate grounds. No longer by the rule of law or what the court said. That tells you all you need to know about the damnable zoological republic. That tells you all you need to know about those people who are there. Everything I've told you has come to pass. I think somebody actually did me, wouldn't say did me a favor. I think it's Oluchi Enyinna of TBRV did me a very big favor by compiling some of my quotes. This one was on the 6th of February 2014. As I told you, as their campaigning goes for elections, it's all there. I think it was on the 12th of October 2014, 6th of November 2014, December the 2nd 2014, 16th of January 2015, 15th January again 2015. These are the quotes that I made about what is going to happen to the zoo. Everything has come to pass. Everything has come to pass. And this is, as I said, this newfound courage by Christian Association of the Zoo. I welcome it. It's called the National Christian Elders Forum. Killing of 11 Christians. Hey, I love this. At last, people who agree with me. Killing of 11, this is by Vanguard. Please go and Google it. Killing of 11 Christians. Blame Buhari, Sultan, for Islamic State in West Africa, Boko Haram's audacity. I end my case here. So people can now see. Hey, the Christian elders, they can now hear, well, they can now see what we have seen long time ago. This was December the 30th, 2019. This summarizes everything. Killing of 11 Christians by the National Christian Elders Forum. They're saying the killing of 11 Christians. Blame it on Buhari, Sultan of Sokoto, for the audacity of the terrorists. Exactly what I've been telling you from time. It should be circulated everywhere, as a matter of fact. Everywhere. Blame them for it. Blame them for it. He said that the Muhammadu Buhari, Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, should be held responsible for the audacity, expansion, and unbridled atrocities of Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP, Boko Haram, and headsmen in the country. What else do you want me to say? What else do you want me to say? Amaka, make sure this is circulated everywhere, raw, so the world can read it. that humanity may read it. Christians are now speaking. They are now waking up. And what the solution is not restructuring. The solution is not one Nigeria, because they have this jihad. Since 1804, they have been planning this jihad since 1804, and they will never rest until they accomplish it. Never, ever rest. Never. They can never rest until it's accomplished. It's accomplished. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Everything I've been saying, they have now confirmed it, to show you that what Radio Biafra is doing is immense. Immense work. When I say to blame those people, they don't understand. They're the ones that give them impetus. When El Rufai will go to the CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, collect for a hard currency and give to terrorists, what do you expect those terrorists to do? To down their tools? Of course not. They'll continue killing. They'll continue killing. When we warned the whole world that the Asoro cabal is all over the place, that the worst person terrorism, some of you did not believe us. It was carried by the Sun newspaper. That was a long time ago, almost 8 months ago, when we said that we told the world that the judiciary does Asoro cabal's bidding against the common man. They didn't believe us until they held Showore. And then the whole world discovered that what IBP is saying is not propaganda after all, it is the truth. We didn't allege. We told them the judiciary does what cabal says. That is why Bintanya could have now released the husband and the son, because she did for them what they had hoped for. And that's where we are. And that is the zoo for you. That's the zoo for you. We must continue. The time now is a minute. It's a minute to 10, isn't it? In Biafra land. That means we've been on air now for nearly 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken. For nearly 4 hours, if I am not mistaken. This is a live presentation from Radio Biafra this evening. Is the live address on the eve of New Year to the whole world. We are preaching the truth, the link between those who are ruling Nigeria and terrorists. The Fulani rulers of Nigeria are all terrorists. Just don't take it from me. Even the Christian Elders Forum in Nigeria have now confirmed it. They now agree also they have a cabal who is ruling the zoo, that it is not Buhari who is in charge, but the cabal. Because Garabashi, who came on the Fulani Janjaweed news channel, Channels TV, and said it openly, that those people who are the cabals, that they are respectable Nigerians, respectable jihadists. That's who they are. Very, very sad indeed. That is why I should say they can sack anybody they want at will. They can disgrace Osibajo. They can humiliate him as much as they like. They can also humiliate Aisha and nothing will happen. They control the military, they control the police, they control the Navy and the Air Force, they control civil defense, they control customs, and they control any government paramilitary organization. Once you carry AK-47, including Fulani headsmen, you are under the control of the cabal in Asorok. And that is why when they started to kick out Oshomole, no one stopped them. Oshomole is now consigned to the history books. It's gone. And some of you must also know that those who claim they're fighting corruption, they padded the budget with 264 billion. They intend to steal. It is there. They see no evil, hear no evil generation. Very, very sad indeed. I go back to those who I respect and those who I revere. Pa Ayo Adebanjo always speaking the truth that anarchy looms, of course, unless the zoo disintegrates. Talking about restructuring is not going to help matters at this point in time because they will never, ever agree to it. They will never, ever agree to it. They will never, ever agree to it. We are fighting to be free, to liberate everybody else in the process. Those who want to work with us can work with us. Even the Sultan is saying, don't provoke us to take up arms. Provoke you. You are the one ruling Nigeria. You are the one killing people. And you're even complaining again that you want to take up arms. So no one will call him for questioning. If it's any other person saying this, they will say DSS is inviting you for questioning to come and clarify what you said, but not the Sultan, because they are all terrorists. And every institution in Nigeria headed by a Fulani person is part of the wider Fulani conspiracy. But they are busy in Biafra land arresting people for selling newspapers. They are busy criminalizing the South I mean, we arrest 86 people, whereas 86 people are arrested in Biafra land, whereas there are terrorists in the north beheading people. The army is busy telling you, because we have no guns, so you can arrest us easily. All they do is the point's gun at you. If you move, I move you, I will shoot you, and you stand. And they'll bundle you into their vehicle. If they don't kill you and harvest your organs and send to India to sell, they will take you to the nearest police station and dump you there. They say they're fighting crime in the south. But in the north, you have terrorists that they themselves are sponsoring, beheading people. Jonathan said that those attacked his home must be prosecuted. I don't know who he's talking to. I don't know the world that he actually inhabits. Very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. And you also know this evening, a country that operates a secular constitution is now saying tonight that men and women can no longer meet at night in Jigawa State. Zoo. Nigeria is a joke, honestly. Go and Google it. It's there. It's today's news from Premium Times. It's a Fulani paper anyway. Jigawa local government bans men, women from meeting at night. It's part of the Sharia in a secular country that says that everybody has the right to freedom of assembly. Now you cannot talk to a woman at night in Jigawa local government. They have banned it. And you're in Nigeria. And you're saying, God bless Nigeria. Those of you going for taking over, whatever you call it. You cannot meet a woman at night in Jigawa. And you're in one Nigeria, operating a secular constitution. What an utter laughable contradiction. Very, very sad indeed. That is the type of Nigeria that this Janjaweed administration has given to you. And you have no choice but to endure it. Because that's what you want. Very, very sad indeed. I will not dignify this very person with any detailed response. But let me remind those that read what I said about Jonathan sacking Hejrika and the response from somebody claiming to be the cousin who we do not know. Nobody knows his name or where he comes from because his name is entirely English. No one knows where he comes from. He said he doesn't know what led to the removal of Ihejrika by Jonathan. We know that the northern cabals forced Jonathan to prematurely remove Ihejrika and Azazi, the former national security advisor. That was what prompted, in case this person doesn't know, that was what prompted the assassination of the former state governor on 15th of December 2012. Azazi died along with Governor Patrick Yakowa of Kaduna State. He was a Christian governor of Kaduna State. He was assassinated when their naval helicopter crashed in Okoroba village of Bayelsa State while on their way back to Iguacha Airport from the funeral of Odonto Douglas's father. He was killed because he was a Christian. This is Patrick Yakowa. People do not know this. And the Muslims wanted to take over power. And they took over power in Kaduna State. That is what they do. He was the first person from Kaduna and the first Christian to become governor in that very state. An innovation to which all Muslims leaders objected to in the north. How can a Christian be the governor of Kaduna State? And they killed him in a helicopter crash. That is one Nigeria for you. An evil entity. An evil entity. Very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. Very sad indeed. Jonathan was living under severe fear when he was the president. Jonathan's downfall and mistake was the removal of Ihejrika and late Azazi. He could have won the 2015 election if the two men were in charge of security and Boko Haram and Fulani Hezbollah could have been defeated by now. That is a fact of life. Jonathan was living in fear. They have now sensed that fear. That's why they came to his house to kill him. That is it. No amount of self-hatred will purge you of that very reality. That is a fact. Why I fired the service chiefs. I want to let that very imbecile understand this. That this is Radio Biafra, and anything I say is gospel, it is the truth. I have no need to lie. I have never lied and I don't intend to. Start now. So, mouthing all that rubbish to please DSS didn't stop them from going to kill Jonathan. You must understand that very clearly. Jonathan sacked Ihejrika. It was contained in Vanguard newspaper. Go and Google it. Why I fired. He didn't say why they resigned. Why I fired service chiefs by Jonathan. Jonathan was a coward. He fired the service chiefs at the instigation of the North, the Northern cabal. They forced him to. War against Boko Haram is war against the North. Buhari said so. Sultan of Sokoto was upset with Hejirika for making huge advances against Boko Haram. So, very cowardly and foolishly, Jonathan removed the chief of defense staff, Ola Ibrahim, who is not from the North, I think he's Yoruba man. He removed Lieutenant General Azubiki Hejirika, chief of army staff, and also the chief of army staff then, and chief of naval staff, Dele Ezoba, was removed, replaced by Northerners. Simple as that. If that is not cowardice, I don't know what is. It didn't stop Obama from removing him from office, did he? You don't go pleasing the North and hoping they will love you. That means you're a very stupid person. Very, very stupid person indeed. And with that, this very evening, there are many of them. Go and read up on them. How Jonathan sacked these people, it is very clear for the whole world to see. This is Radio Biafra. You have joined us this evening and we have brought you this very gospel. And we are wishing you, for those of you who adhere to the Gregorian calendar, I must also tell you that this calendar that you're adhering to, sometime, I think it was in 1472, the then Pope Gregory, removed 12 days from the calendar in order to make sure that Christmas falls every December, every winter. Do you understand that? Now, I don't want to go into that because some of you may be too much for you to absorb. But what you're following is called the Gregorian calendar. It's not the calendar of nature, but all the same, I wish you a very happy new year wherever you are around the world, and especially those who believe in the truth. May the truth and the light that it represents always find you. And from me, from here this very evening, on a day where we have demonstrated our unalloyed devotion to the worship of Elohim, that Biafra, we state, very categorically and equivocally, is our religion. Here on Radio Biafra is where we worship because Chukwokika Biama is our God. From me, from here, good evening and Happy New Year. Wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are, on the face of this very planet, as always, we welcome you to this very special end-of-year edition, the New Year's Eve edition of Radio Biafra, broadcast live and direct. Wherever you are staying out, where you are domiciled, where you are residing across the face of this very earth, the entire 24 time zones is carrying this very broadcast live and direct. You can join us on Facebook, you can join us on TuneIn. There is a plethora, an array of ways through which and by which you can participate in this very program this evening. We are on FM in Biafra land. We are on satellite. We are relentless. We are determined. We are not surrendering. We don't intend to, and we can never. There will be no retreat and there will be no surrender. The only movement we know is upwards and forwards. And that is why Biafra will come in our time. As I welcome you by saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, so do I expect you to welcome all those who are around you. You must bring your pen and your paper with you. You must do all you can within your powers to make sure that this very gospel is propagated to the ends of the earth, because contained within it is the very essence, is the very beginning of the crumbling of the damnable zoological republic. That very contraption created by the British called Nigeria. That very hopeless place, a Sharia territory, a territory of jihadists, a territory of killers, a territory of stark illiterates, those who are backward, never, ever to move forward. They are cursed. It is a cursed entity. And this evening, believe you me, we are going to unravel it. I do not know how many hours we are going to stay together, but I can assure you, before we bring this program to a conclusion this evening, anybody who hitherto were in doubt as to the precipitous collapse of the zoo, such doubts will be consigned. It will be removed. It will be taken away. Never, ever, ever to resurface, nor to reoccur in the hearts of those that want to see the light, those who want to see freedom. Therefore, I welcome each and every one of you. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the very special grace of Elohim, Chukwukika Biama Prumi Yanina, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. Our job is to disseminate this very gospel. Our job is to preach it. Our effort is all geared towards the restoration of Biafra, and there is nothing any mortal can do to stop it. Even now, the zoo and their leadership is beginning to acknowledge, and they must know that they are in very serious trouble. We are not going to be placated with warm words about restructuring. We are not going to be moved from our position with mindless, or should I say, very vacuous assurances. We are determined and we are very resolute. The only thing we want is Biafra, nothing more, nothing less. People can decide amongst themselves to bring ridicule and shame to their ignorance, but insofar as IPOB is concerned, we are resolute, we are determined, we remain ever pure, both in heart, in spirit, and on this very temporal flesh. This very effort to restore Biafra is founded on the irresistible principle of scrupulous cleanness, whiter than white and whiter than snow. Therefore, we are unrelenting. Therefore, we are not, by any stretch of the imagination, going to trade this very noble effort for some sham restructuring. What we are interested in is the restoration of Biafra, and that is exactly what we intend to do. Before we proceed, I must please remind you to be mindful of the fact that you need your pen and your paper ready. Without your pen and your paper, there is no way you can learn. We have come to lecture. We have come to address humanity. We have come that those who are blind may see, that those who hitherto we are born and raised in ignorance may become enlightened to understand their perilous state, to understand the hopelessness of Nigeria, and to do something about it, to extricate themselves from the hellhole that they find themselves in. This is Radio Biafra, and allow me to repeat that we are live and we are direct, and heaven is bearing us witness. That is a fact. There are those who may wish to stand upon what we have accomplished to perhaps relaunch their dead careers, but we can assure them that the path we have chosen is very arduous and very difficult. Only the pure at heart will be able to walk it. And that is exactly what this God-ordained IPOB is doing. Before we go any further, we must hand over our proceedings to heaven, to Chukwukika Biama Purumi, the creator of the heavens and this very earth. On this very New Year's Eve, the very last day of the year, according to Gregorian calendar, we must understand that. What we are in for today is adhering to Gregorian calendar. It is not the calendar of the ancients. We must always remember that. But all the same, considering that all the areas of the world touched, or should I say tainted by Western influence, is observing it at the end of the year, and by virtue, we are obliged to do so. And we must pray to Chukwukika Biama, O Elohim in heaven, the giver of life and the giver of hope. You that have decreed that we will be alive in the land of the living to see this very day, not because we merit it, but because that is what only you have determined. We have come to the end of the year in the Gregorian calendar 2019. In all that we have been through, in all that we have endured, we give your name praise. We lift you up because there is no other like thee. In sickness and in health, we praise your holy name. In good times and in bad times, we adore thee. We remember those who are incarcerated. We remember those who were with us by this time last year who are no longer here. My parents amongst them. We remember those who have suffered, those who have lost limb, those who have lost a part of their body, those who are suffering, those who are in pain because of the restoration of Biafra. We are going through all this that your will may be fulfilled upon the lives of those that call upon thee morning, noon, and night, because we have no other than thee. There is no God elsewhere apart from thee. There is no other entity. There is no other befitting of praise and adulation except thee, O Elohim. You will listen to our prayers. You will deliver us from the hands of our enemies. You will hear us when we call upon thee. Although we mourn in our complaint and always complain and petition thee, because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked in the zoo called Nigeria, for they cast iniquity upon your children, and in wrath they hate those of us that speak the truth. Fearfulness and trembling have come upon some of your children, and horror hath overtaken us. And we continue to say, oh, we wish we had wings like a dove, then we will disappear and leave all this Biafra restoration in the hands of those who are not worthy. But when, O Elohim, we wander off in our thought, we are lost in the wilderness, for only thee can direct us back through the path of truth and righteousness, that we may seek thee with clean conscience and a pure heart, so that Biafra may be restored. We will, O Elohim, escape the wind of evil in the zoo. For Biafra you have set apart as your own. You will destroy all those that have sought to destroy us in the past. You will destroy all those who are seeking to destroy your children. And all those who are seeking to divide us into South-South and Southeast, Niger Delta and the East. O Elohim, so will you divide their tongues. For we have seen violence in them, and we have seen their cities collapse. Horror shall befall them day and night. They will not know they are going out, nor they are coming in. For mischief and sorrow will dwell amongst them, because they harbor wickedness, deceit, and guile. For it was not an enemy from the north that we should fear, but those who are born within, or those that bear our names, those who sit and work for the enemy. All their work will come to nothing, for they will be destroyed. For we have devoted all that we are unto thee. For only you, Elohim, is our hope. Only you, O Heavenly Father, have we sought refuge under. For the zoo will fall. Nigeria will be seized by death and destruction, and they cannot escape it. For you have heard our cries and our affliction. For you, only you, abideth by the word that cometh forth from your mouth. For you have decreed that Biafra will come. And so we know, we hope, we pray, and we tirelessly work towards the restoration of your kingdom upon the face of this very earth. Because the words of your mouth are yea and amen. For you have proclaimed Biafra, so shall Biafra come in our time. For only you, Elohim, shall bring down into the pit of destruction the damnable zoological republic, that very Nigeria, bloody and deceitful, that you shall destroy in the days of the sons of men, like in our time, that Biafra may come, and your name exalted, praised, adored, and worshipped. Forever and ever we pray. He said, this evening, as I said earlier, if you do not have your pen and paper, you are missing a lot. This is a lecture, not just a broadcast, but a lecture. This evening, we shall attempt to tell you about the origin, the genesis of the jihadi movement you have in Nigeria today. This very evening, or morning, or afternoon, or night, depending on where you are, you will come to the full realization that Nigeria is so hopeless that any attempt to sustain it will lead to further bloodshed, will lead to the jihadists gaining more foothold in the south. It will lead to the utter destruction of our way of life. It will mean that we will no longer exist as a people. Anybody championing or carrying this very burden of the preservation of one Nigeria, I can assure you they are working towards your destruction as a human being and as a race of people. This is the context. What I'm trying to build this evening is just a context so you can understand it. I will try not to be too grammatical because our grandmothers are listening. People who do not say English as their preferred language of communication. It is our responsibility and our duty to ensure that they grasp the essence of this very gospel this evening, because this is a gospel. A very important one at that. We need to build a better understanding of the mess we are all in and the desire of a supposedly Christian Britain. You must understand this. You must open your brain. You must open your mind. You must begin to digest what you are hearing this evening. This very gospel is important. Very, very important, because later on I will talk about what the president of Rwanda said about the way we reason. That is the only problem. But my happiness is now we are beginning to come alive. We are beginning to show signs of the ability to digest very complex information, analyze it, and be able to do something positive with it. You must understand that Britain is a Christian entity, supposedly. They colonized the place today you call Nigeria that never existed before. You all know this history. But tonight, I want you to understand the implications of living inside something created by people who no longer worship God. What you're going through now in the zoo is a phase of slavery. It's very subtle, so you don't notice. It is the worst form of neo-colonialism. Britain cannot directly colonize to have access to our vast resources. What they did was they put a house nigger in charge. And they looked all around the zoo. They couldn't have picked Nnamdi Azikiwe because he's learned, albeit with his flaws. They couldn't have picked Awolowo because he was learned. They went to the north to hand over power to them because they know that they are Lamajri, they are Janjaweed. They know they are jihadists. They know they are more preoccupied with implementing and fostering their primitive way of life on other people than to be concerned with the art of good governance. Art is A-R-T, please, not act. Art of good governance. You can never get it from them. We are going through a phase of slavery, using illiterate Muslim Al-Majri in the zoo to hold everybody down in bondage. I give you a very simple example before we proceed very quickly. I want you to please tell me in which world you inhabit. Will somebody like Onogen and all the learned people who are on the bench be relegated to the background and a Sharia judge appointed as the CJN? Somebody who cannot express himself, be it in Hausa or in English. Somebody who is not enough, doesn't even understand the law. A chief justice of a secular, supposedly secular nation, or should I say a secular contraption, arguing for the inclusion of Sharia in the constitution, which means that he doesn't even understand the constitution of Nigeria, which I will explain later on. By merely introducing Sharia into Nigeria, for Obasanjo to allow the 12 Arewa core North states to introduce Sharia, what they have done effectively is to amend the constitution without going to the National Assembly. You must understand the importance and the critical nature of this very aspect of political development in Nigeria. For them to have Sharia without going through the legislature in Abuja means that they have already tampered with the constitution outside the provisions of that same constitution that kept mentioning Sharia. I'm only giving you a bit of background. So when we proceed, you can anchor what you hear on all these very critical pillars that I have mentioned just this very moment. What you have in Nigeria is an alien socio-political arrangement of which the only beneficiaries are Fulani Al-Majri. They are the direct beneficiaries of colonialism. You must understand this. Those who are benefiting from the years of slavery and suffering of the people of the South are the North. Britain never took Christianity to them. They refused. Boko Haram that you're seeing that says Western education is dangerous was exactly the same thing the North said to the white man when they first had contact. I'm sure that some of you are now familiar with the statements and pronouncements of Olusegun Obasanjo that said in fact, told all of you who were ignorant before how many years it took for the British to subdue Biafrans. You must understand the importance of that very statement. What they did was Britain had to leave Nigeria But for Britain to retain their control, their influence, to still be colonizing Nigeria till this very moment, they needed a house nigger to do the job for them. And who are those house niggers? They are the Alamajiri, Janjaweed, the Fulani feudal laws you have in the north. While they were busy mouthing Western education is dangerous, when they first met the British, I'm not talking about Boko Haram. This was what I'm trying to build this evening is for you to understand that terrorism, Fulanization, Islamization, they are all one and the same. Supported by the Fulani ruling class. You must understand this very well. This evening, I will unravel everything for the whole world to understand what is happening in that very zoo. While they were busy telling the white man then and people now that Western education is dangerous. After all, if it's not dangerous, why would they appoint an Alekali to come and become the CJN of Nigeria, Chief Justice of the Nation? His only experience in law is Sharia. They told you they don't need education. Buhari, when he was alive, was not educated. Of course, I concede sometimes he can speak a bit of English. If you can listen to him, that is. Or if you can hear what he's saying. No certificate, nothing whatsoever. The same thing with the CJM, because they told you that Western education is meaningless. They don't need it. And now they're proving it to you that it's not needed. Not just through terrorism, but by the appointments that they make on a daily basis. While they were busy mouthing their rubbish that Western education is dangerous, they were busy building and forging an enduring master-slave, house-nigger relationship with the British. Because the British, they know this very well, that the East will not bow. And to an extent, the West. They won't, because they're educated. That thing, you know, they know it. They went for the blind house niggers in the North and gave them leadership. That is why the current climate of violent Islamization that started with Obama. Go and check this very carefully. What you're seeing today, including the removal of Jonathan, was started when Obama got into power in the USA. And in collaboration with the then British Prime Minister David Cameron, they insisted that power must go back to the North. They insisted. Let's go back to the North. Tonight, hopefully, I'm going to present you with facts and figures. Not from Biafra sources, not from something local, but these are from independent think tanks abroad by editorials of newspapers that support one Nigeria. What you're going to hear is basically what other people have been saying about the zoo, about Nigeria, that you don't know about. Things that are hidden from you. Things you don't know about. These are foreign observers who in the main are sympathetic to the illiterate ruling class of the North. They love them so much. But things have so deteriorated that they can no longer tolerate it. Most of these are European observers. Most of them are from the North Americas, and some of them from Asia, and some independent commentators from Africa. Hear what they are saying about Nigeria, and that Nigeria is irredeemable. It has collapsed, never ever to rise again. I said never. What you're doing is pure cosmetics, to be honest with you. You are just deceiving yourselves, thinking that something that is unsalvageable can be salvaged. No, it cannot. And this evening, I want to begin by presenting facts and figures so you understand it. When I make a direct quote or analysis, I will tell you where we got it from. This is a publication by a group based in Europe called Religion Unplugged. I want you to understand the grand strategy to Islamize everybody. This is something, of course, to the Yoruba Muslims is nothing new. But to the rest, you better be very, very careful. They presented this analysis on March the 8th of this very year, 2019, because, of course, in Australia, they have gone into 2020. I spoke to Mazio Former earlier. Listen very, very carefully to this. This is an analysis done by Religion Unplugged. Independent analysis from a European-based think tank. They said here that during the elections of February the 23rd, listen very carefully to what they said. Forget about European observers, what those colonialists came and did in the zoo, saying the election was free and fair, which I will allude to later on. Here they said that the elections held, I'm telling you the beginning of your problems, that every 4 years it repeats itself. You keep saying, get your voter's card. Oh, come and go and vote. I'm telling you what the world is saying about that Fulanized system. INEX, anywhere you have Fulanis in power, there is always disobedience of rule of law, a breakdown of law and order, anarchy and fraud. Go and write it anywhere you find them. That is what you will get. The presidential and national assembly elections held in Nigeria on February 23rd was characterized by violence, listen to it, violence, harassment, and malpractices. Now tell me how people can subscribe to a country where year after year, every 4 years after every 4 years, you have the same thing. Since 1957. What is happening today did not just start, come by an accident. No, it's been that way with the zoo. Every time there's an electoral cycle, there is violence, harassment, and malpractices. They went on to say that the lines were drawn by religion. Now, those of you avoiding, I must commend Christian Association of Nigeria. At last, somehow, they are beginning to wake up. Here, international observers, people, think tanks, people who are learned and educated, people who are naturally sympathetic to the British line of argument that Nigeria must remain one. They are telling you that the elections were determined by violence, harassment, and malpractices, and that religion played a key role in it. Muhammadu Buhari's election to president was followed. This is happening in March. In March, remember, March of this year. They said that they feel that this regime of APC, of course, fronted by Jubril, they call him Buhari, that he has come to Islamize, in quote, Nigeria. March, independent observers, white people, outside the zoo, they are telling you that this man is coming to Islamize you. Now, the Nigerian Civil Society Institution Room, which is an amalgamation of 70 organizations, said that 260 people were killed in pre-election violence. Every 4 years, every 2 or 3 years, you have elections in the zoo and people are dying, and you don't sit down to ask yourself. This is why the West is far more advanced than any other race, I should say, or especially, or let me put it this way. Every other race is more advanced than black people. Do you know why? Because when something goes wrong, when they build a bridge and the bridge collapses, they bring in their engineers. They want to find out what materials were used in the construction of the bridge. They want to know if a robust feasibility study was done before the bridge was constructed. They want to know those that built it. They want to look at all the variables that led to the collapse of that very bridge. And when they build a new one, they will eliminate everything they feel contributed to the collapse of the previous one. That is the difference between white and black people. But when it comes to us black people, our mind is not rigorous enough to interrogate issues and get to the bottom of it. You heard that in 1999 there was violence, death. They called another election again in 2003 or thereabout. You voted again. Nothing happened until this very day. And the thing about Alamajiri is this: once they know that you don't give a damn about something, believe you me, it gets worse as the days go by. They are telling you that there are people who are killed. It didn't touch anybody. Now listen, they said the trend follows patterns in previous elections conducted by INEC. They singled out INEC for damnation. And who is running INEC? Let me ask you. He's a Fulani man. Fulani president, Fulani INEC, Fulani judiciary, Fulani House of Reps, Fulani Senate, Fulani customs, Fulani army, Fulani police, Fulani civil defense, Fulani customs. Only Fulani. And that is why things are getting worse by the day. Because you cannot produce what you've not been given. If a people are not educated enough or savvy enough to come into the 21st century, they're still stuck in 16th century warped political mindset, how do you think they can improve your life? How? I ask you. And they have set up a system and a structure so rigidly held down that even if you have something in your brain, once you go or walk into any office, you become like them. That's what they have done. Remember that in 2011, as many as 800, conservatively speaking, I'm trying to be conservative, verifiable figures, 800 people were killed in post-election violence. According to research conducted by Human Rights Watch. Why am I pointing all these things out? I want to establish a pattern of behavior in the zoo. I want to let you understand that those you claim are politicians, those you claim you're voting for, they lack the capacity to address the difficulties and the issues confronting you on a daily basis. In other words, Nigeria as presently constituted should not exist. I want to point out some of the perennial difficulties. I want to point out some of the entrenched problems in Nigeria that will never, ever, ever, ever go away. If you're looking for 24 hours electricity, if you want good roads, hospitals, it can never be obtainable inside Nigeria. It is impossible because there are certain factors welded to the fabric, to the foundation, the very fraudulent base of the zoo that you can never dislodge. Never, ever, ever. It doesn't matter how many times you pray. It doesn't matter how many times you prophesy. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter how much green and white fabric you've wasted trying to convince yourself that you're patriotic. It will never go away. The analysis I'm bringing you are foreign-based observers. No, the zoo, they cannot publish such a thing for you. Never. Because they manage the news very well. They know how to bribe Google. They know how to bribe Facebook. They know how to bribe people to do whatever they want them to do. Of course, money rules and money talks. I want you to understand that the cabal is prepared. The Fulani-controlled North is prepared. I'm telling you, they are more than prepared. 10, 15 years ahead of everybody else. Some of us are going to go to church today to be mouthing the usual rubbish. But there will never be any improvement in our living conditions until we learn how to reason properly like human beings. Until we understand that Nigeria is not sustainable. What I'm giving you are facts and figures based on independent analysis and study of what is happening in the damnable zoological republic, in that hellhole called Nigeria. Human Rights Watch. In 2015 elections, many people died. They said it was peaceful. How many? I don't like people dying. Of course, I hate it. I'm not a violent person. How many people died in USA as a result of, anti-Semitic attacks against the Jewish people? And it was reported all over the world. In elections, you kill 800 people, and a human being will write and tell the world that the elections were free and fair. Incidentally, most of you don't know this. Do you know that religion, Islam versus Christianity, was the undercurrent, was basically the undercurrent throughout the campaign of 2015, and even the one that you had early this year? They said that the result from, I'm telling you this to drive home the incompatibility of the various groups. I'm not saying Christian or Muslim, no. Once you return people back to who they are, to who they were before the British came, there'll be peace. The only thing that can guarantee peace, the only thing that can start this from slaughtering innocent, defenseless Christians in the Middle Belt and in the South is a return to the way we were before the white man came. And it is not. See, people keep telling you this nonsense. It's for the National Assembly. If we have a democracy, if you have any bribe, take it to your MP. I don't call them MP. Take it to your senator, your House of Reps member. But I'm asking the Fulani Janjaweed, the Alamaji, when you change the constitution from a secular constitution, a non-religious constitution, when you inserted Sharia into the laws of the zoo, when you quite literally carved out 12 states in the north to say they are Sharia states, what do you think you were doing? Did you go to National Assembly? So when it comes to other people, they should follow the due process. Go to your senator, go to your House of Reps member, so that the chamber can debate it in Abuja. But when it came to your Sharia, you wanted Sharia so desperately that some people in the South are so useless and so ignorant, they don't know that effectively 12 Sharia states in the North have broken away from the zoo. They are practicing a completely different system. That is why they can go and arrest a man in a hotel saying he was found with 3 women. That is why you cannot drink alcohol. That is why those Janjaweed contemplated banning male and females from sitting inside the same Kekena Pep in the North. You don't understand it. Some of you are too blind. When I say the thing, I hate them, we are too pompous, we say that. No, of course, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to drive home is this, is that the way that you reason is flawed. That is why you cannot understand that when the Fulanis wanted something so desperately, when the jihadists in the North, we are so desperate for Sharia, they did not go to Abuja to ask anybody for it. They sat on their own, they decided, and they forced Obasanjo to implement it. So when somebody is telling you about Sharia, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't agitate for Biafra, you must go through the right channel being, let it be discussed and voted upon in Abuja. You tell them who voted for Sharia to be introduced in the North. Who voted? They willingly subverted the constitution of a country. Some of you don't understand the implications of this. It means that Nigeria is running quite literally without any set of laws, no rules. They do whatever they like. After all, why would they detain somebody who's been granted bail? Why would they do that? Because they don't believe in the law. If they believed in the constitution of Nigeria, that Abdul Salami, their own fellow Al-Majri, drew up and included everything they wanted in it, there is no way they could have gone outside that same constitution to introduce Sharia in the 12 states of the North. This is just I'm only beginning. I've not even started this program very well. I'm just pointing out some things that will guide your thinking, that when we get into the substance of the involvement of the late Buhari, the involvement of Abba Kyari, El-Rufai, they call him the Sultan of Sokoto, in the current wave of terrorism in the zoo, you will understand it. It's all Sharia planned and mapped out. All planned and well designed to deceive some gullible people. But you can't deceive IPOB, you can't deceive me. We are learned and highly educated. You can't deceive us. When they tell you, don't agitate, you must go to the right, we're in a democracy. Ask that person, which channel did you people, you Sharia Northerners, which channel did you go to before you introduced Sharia in the 2000 North? Did you go to National Assembly? Did the Nigerian Constitution ever recognize Sharia? The answer is no. It mentioned it. It never said it is a way of life for the people. But you introduced it behind the Constitution. Now, when we agitate for Biafra, you say, oh, why don't you go through National Assembly? Did you go? All this Al-Majri, I'm asking you, all the Janjaweed, did you go through the National Assembly? I'm saying this so that people in the West The more moderate, reasonable people in the West in Yoruba land can be able to reason and understand what I'm saying. I don't hate anybody, but I hate fools. I can't stand people who cannot reason very well. So you're telling me it's good that one law operates for the Janja with the Alamajiri in the north and another law for people in the south? Is that what you're seriously saying? Is that what you're seriously saying? We are going to Biafra and nobody can stop us. It is they know it. Abba Kyari, who is currently forget all the nonsense, Jubril, all the makeup they put on his face. He will come out. One day his ear is cleft on the right, the other day is on the left. Nobody knows what he's doing. No. And we know that Abba Kyari is the one running the zoo with the help of the input of the cabal from the north. We know. And they are determined. They know this is the opportunity. If they miss it, they know that if the presidency were to come to the south, that they are finished. They know that very well. There will be structural reforms that will put an end to the reign of terror. That is why they will hold on for their dear lives, counting and hoping that Britain will support them. Let me also point this out. It took Britain over 30 years to overrun Biafra land. What makes you think that ordinary Alamajiri who cannot read or write can defeat us in 3 years? Just ask yourself that very simple question. Britain fought Biafra for nearly 30 years before they managed to subdue us. Do you seriously think that in a straight fight between Biafrans, Fulani, and their allies in the north, that they can defeat Biafra? Do you seriously think so? That is why they ran to Saudi Arabia, they ran to Egypt, they ran to Britain, they ran to Russia. All these countries fought against, including OAU, fought against tiny Biafra. And we held them for 3 years. It was what I would call the Third World War. That is why they don't like talking about Biafra in all the political offices of the world, because they are ashamed of themselves. They know what they did. When I hear Alamajiri talk about the war, I feel sorry for the fools. Did you fight any war? It was the Egyptians who were flying your airplanes. Did you fight any war? All the logistics were provided by the British. The British ensured there was air, land, and sea blockade. When the Red Cross went to London to go and withdraw money to feed starving Biafran children, the woman was arrested and detained by the British government. Harold Wilson said that he wants more people dead in Biafra land than in the Holocaust. You think you fought us? Fulani will say, remember the war. Did you fight any war? Junaid Muhammad, did you fight any war? Amjad Blahi, did you fight any war? Did you see war? In all the, should I say, some of the theaters of war that we've had in recent times, including the Ecomob missions and all the rest of it, how many Fulani people were there? The front line fighting. Buratai that you see today, has he seen battlefield before? Buratai, the chief of army staff. All that is why, because he's never seen war before. He doesn't understand what a soldier is supposed to do. That is why there are in marketplaces harassing women who are selling crayfish. He's not a soldier. No genuine soldier will go to harass civilians. The reason why you have dictatorships in Africa is because their soldiers don't even fight wars. All they do is harass. Look at Ethiopia that's fought a war before. How there is freedom and progress, because soldiers know if you call them to go and kill, they will tell you no, they will not go. They have seen war before. You have Alamajiri in the north. They have never seen any war. The only war they have seen is to fly their helicopter to Kuje to make sure that I'm in prison. The only war they have seen is coming to Biafra land to kill unarmed protesters. The only war they have seen is to come down and massacre people who are praying. Because Britain is supporting them, because Britain is covering their back, so to speak. That if Britain is there, they can do whatever they like. Abba Kyari can do whatever he likes. Britain will protect him. Because it is in the British interest that a Fulani man is in power. It is in the interest of Britain, not all of Britain, some people, some key people. It is in their interest that Alamajiri is in power, because they know once Alamajiri is in power, people will be selling their generators now, because there will never be any light. You'll be selling sumo because they know there will never ever be pipe bomb water. Never. It's impossible. People will be digging their boreholes all the time. Their pharmaceutical companies will be making so much money because every time you be sick, if not malaria, it's typhoid. And all the medicines are coming from abroad. You think they don't know what they're doing? You think they don't know? So it is in the interest of neo-colonialists that Al-Majri is in power because they know they cannot do, they know that they are useless, beyond useless. Are you telling me that in a normal world, Britain, who is the colonial master of the zoo, somebody as stupid as Tanko, a Sharia judge was appointed the chief justice of a common law system, that Britain will not say anything? You heard, during all our fight to free Shore, Dasuki, and El Sensaki must be free. We need to fight for him as well. Of course, it was very foolish of them to burn US and Israeli flags. Very, very foolish of them to do so. But we must fight for El Sensaki to be released. Did Britain ever say anything? It was only the time that US senators started complaining that Britain now had the courage to send out a tweet to say you must release Shore or respect the rule of law. Only when we have done the hard work on the ground in America are they now coming out to say, oh, you must release him. But Britain has been there from day one. They see evil happening. British High Commissioner in Abuja, they see Satan, they see Lucifer with their two eyes in that rock. They keep quiet because of what they are gaining. Because of what they are gaining. Thankfully not many people in Britain are as evil as some of them that write their foreign policy, to be honest with you. They are pure evil. I will continue. Religion has been there from day one. It's not going to go away. They said that the population is half and half, 91 million Muslim, 91, rubbish, pure bunkum. You must understand this very, very clearly. Very, very clearly. Please listen to this very, very clearly, please. In spite of everything they have done, they said Atiku picked Toby and Abakari answering the name Buhari through Jubril picked Osibajo, who is the two southern Christians, as they said. It did not stop Islam and religion being a key part of the election. Now listen to this carefully. Some of you don't know what is happening in the zoo, but I will tell you tonight anyway. We have time. There is a leader of an extremist Islamic sect called Izala, I-Z-A-L-A. Sheikh Sani Yahaya Jingir. Sheikh Sani Yahaya Jingir. He spoke in a video in Hausa language and asked his followers never ever to vote for the PDP candidate who was Atiku then, despite the fact Atiku is a Muslim. Do you know his reason why? These are people that tomorrow say, oh, Nigeria, we must do everything we can to keep Nigeria united. I'm saying this tonight so that Igbo Efulefu governors can listen. The idiotic politicians can listen. Every fool planning for 2023, 2098, 2047 can listen very carefully to what we are saying and learn from it. Not minding that Atiku was a Muslim. This man called Sheikh Sani Yahaya Jingir spoke in a video to his followers, millions of them. He said that Atiku, these are his words, Atiku's running mate is from the Igbo stock, who are Christians. They killed Abasadwana, and because of that, nobody should vote for Atiku, because if you vote for Atiku, that means you're voting for those that killed the Sadwana. Some of you have forgotten that the governor of Kaduna State now planning to come and run, and I know there are some idiots in Biafra land. There are some fools in Biafra land, entire Biafra land, who may be thinking, oh, I'm very poor, I'm wretched, oh my goodness, why don't I support Nasser El-Rufai's candidacy? Maybe money will come to me and my family. That very selfish way of reasoning is only about yourself. If I was thinking of myself alone, I will be a multi-billionaire in foreign currency. You don't know how to make sacrifices. All you know to do is to sabotage. All you know to do is to run to the Alamajiri because they know you will come. They know the reason why they are dealing with Oshomole today is because they know there's an endless, it's a conveyor belt, endless supply of idiots from the south. Endless supply. So if one Oshomole goes, another idiot will replace him. They know that very well because you're all very hungry. And before you all say, if you're hungry as well, you do something. I spent all my money funding Radio Biafra to the point that I was sleeping in a car, hungry. I didn't give up. I will go to work, make a lot of money. I will come back and I will spend it on Radio Biafra shortwave. If you think shortwave is cheap, go and try it yourself and see how expensive it is. So we've been there. Don't come and tell us nonsense. Oh, my family was hungry. Because of that, I had to sell my conscience. Some of you will fight for El Rufai. And I will tell you what he said. He said, listen carefully to El Rufai. These are your... When they talk about the elite and the leaders in the zoo, I'm only building I'm only building a background to what is happening in the zoo so that you all can learn and understand, reason and think. He spoke on Channels Television, that Alamajiri station. He said, this is from El Rufai. What if I tell you that no matter who I choose as my running mate, even if I choose the Pope, 67% of the Christians in Southern Kaduna have made up their minds that they will never vote for me. But people come ignorantly in the outside world. They say, oh, but the North is all Muslims. No, of course not. Southern Kaduna they are all Christians. But they have been subdued. The mistake that these people, Southern Kaduna, the mistake they keep making is that they keep thinking that Biafra is against them, that should Biafra go, they will suffer. No, you are making a grave mistake. Biafra is your redemption. Only Biafra, I'm telling you the truth, only Biafra can save people in that very zoo. Only Biafra can. Nothing else will. I said nothing else. No amount of restructuring, no amount of warm words. And I'm happy to hear today that Khan is saying they are fed up of the condolence message coming from Asarok. They are tired. Anytime a Christian is killed, there's a condolence message. Rubbish. They are tired. What is the solution? I want people to sit down this night or morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, to actually contemplate what the solutions are to the problems. Not just lamenting, but what are the solutions? The only solution viable is close your eyes and think of how we were before the white man came. The people that put us in this mess is the British. And it's a good thing that actually the French government have come out to say that colonialism is evil. It's the British. And because they see themselves as God, you know, they are very proud, they are God. We went to Africa, you know, those dumb monkeys, we created nations for them, and they are there. Nobody should touch the boundaries, it should be that way. Who told you that? Southern Sudan broke away, albeit there are teething problems there. Eritrea emerged. And so will other nations emerge. Now, if it is the wish of Eritrea in the future to go and join Ethiopia in a bigger, wider, whatever country, it is their prerogative. Give it to them. That is the essence of democracy, to ask the people what they want. Isn't that what we're asking for? Isn't that what we're asking for? He said, even if I choose the Pope as my running mate, they won't vote for me. The issue is this. From the mouth, listen very carefully, from the mouth of the governor of Kaduna State right now, El Rufai, he said, Kaduna State is divided. From the mouth, if Kaduna State is divided in the north, if Kaduna State is divided, how do you think you can put the country together? It is impossible. Absolutely impossible. But we don't understand. It's entirely up to them if they will or not. But we are moving on, we are marching on relentlessly. You see, I said it from the beginning. By the time God is my witness, by the time we are done with the zoo, you see the name Nigeria will no longer exist. They will answer Arewa in the north. They will answer Oduduwa or whatever name they choose, and will be Biafra. Should these people then decide to come together, or middle belt, if they're strong enough to stand their ground, if they're strong enough to stand their ground, they can emerge as one nation if they have one common identity or one common way of life. If a governor can say to you that Kaduna State is divided, how about Nigeria as a whole? But the impression they give is that the North is one North is a lie, deception. They want one North, the divided South, Midwest, Niger Delta, South. But in the North, they are all one North. Despite the fact that in Kaduna, you won't believe this, in Kaduna State, Christians outnumber Muslims in Kaduna. I'm not talking about Christians that came from elsewhere, from Biafra land to reside in Kaduna. No, indigenous people, southern Kaduna, there are more Christians than Muslims. You don't have such dichotomy anywhere in the South. But they give you the impression that the South is divided. No, that from the mouth of the governor of Kaduna State, on Channels TV, he said that that Kaduna State is divided. Apart from Governor El Rufai, these people also recognize that Buhari had an agenda to Islamize Nigeria, even during the campaign. When we were saying this, you didn't listen. But of course, the good thing is that it's good to be underestimated in life. If they knew how far we would go in the pursuit of Biafra under IPOB, oh my goodness, they wouldn't have let us get to where we are today. They thought we are miscreants, we are wheelbarrow pushers, they are touts, they are all those sorts of names. And the more names they call us, the more enthused, the more energized we become. And what we have done is to undermine them, and we'll keep doing it. That by the time the zoo is crumbling, it won't come to Britain as a surprise. They will see that the morons they handed over power to in the north are as useless can be. That's what we're trying to do. We are trying to say that, okay, if you're not happy with our agitation for self-determination, let us show you what they're doing in Nigeria. We will expose Nigeria to the world, and that's what we're doing. We've only done about 9% of the job. Only 9%, and the whole place is crumbling. They're not talking about restructuring because of IPOB. They know they're dreaming. They're wasting their time. The only solution is Biafra, and they understand it very, very well. Outsiders are telling you that the country called Nigeria has an Islamization agenda. Remember what Femi Adesina said, that anybody claiming that the administration has an agenda to impose Islam on Nigeria is false and wicked. That the objective is to stoke up religious division for political gains. But you had El Rufai. Here you have somebody in Asurok talking rubbish, but El Rufai said that his own state is divided along Christians and Muslims. They don't see eye to eye. Do you see the confusion that reigns at the heart of the zoo? You know, some of these Pentecostal pastors, I know that some of you will hopelessly and foolishly go to your crossover night and all the nonsense that you call it. Some of these pastors don't allow you to reason. They don't let you reason properly. I'm telling you the truth. Only if they can stand and speak and stand on the truth, you will see what will happen in the zoo. In Adamawa State, again, there is a substantial Christian population, but some of you don't know this. Adamawa, I think that's the state of Atiku Abubakar. Over the last 4 years, listen carefully, 4 years, over the last 4 years, Muslim Fulani jihadists, that is what they call them. This is an international organization, a think tank. They call them Muslim Fulani jihadists. They have destroyed Christian communities in Adamawa State. And I understand the reason why somebody from Adamawa may want to say to IPOB, oh, don't have Biafra.
Savana Lumokume, Yajakonaba, Yakanemusio, one Leno Jeje, Bebina Marana Bonao, the Gomukanga.